Welcome to Pub Talk, the unofficial official craft beer podcast of Oklahoma, where we're all about the 3Bs, beer buddies, and bullshit. I'm Michael, and with me as always is a guy who thinks it's not too shabby that we're getting to sit and chat with the folks at Eerie Abbey, Jeremy.
Hey, yo.
On today's show, we're back at it again with another Spotlight episode, this time in downtown Tulsa. If you like what you hear today, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button wherever you're listening to us right now, and show us some love on social media at Pub Talk Podcast. All right, let's get into it. So first off, thank you for having us out today.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on.
Typically start off the episodes with just brief introductions. You let us know who you are and what you do here.
Yeah, so my name's Josh Schrock. I am one of the owners here. I would say I'm the head cleaner. We have a head brewer. He's also one of the owners. And I like to chip in my ideas for what we should brew, but that guy's ultimately the recipe guy and the brewing guy. His name's James. And I do a lot of the cleaning. But I also, I handle a lot of the front of house stuff, doing a lot of the administrative things. It's enough to really keep me busy, for sure.
Right on.
Yeah. So kind of talk to us a little bit about just how you guys got started, how the brewery came to be.
Yeah, sure. So it was probably 2013, 2014. My wife and I were going up to McNelly's often, McNelly's South City. And for pint nights, we would hang out there. Got to know a lot of different people. One night we were sitting there and James was on the other side of her and she overheard him talking about beer and brewing and this and that. And she said, you should talk to this guy since you're so into beer. Because I had been, kind of getting more and more into craft beer at that point. So I, switched seats with her, started talking to him. He invited me to a homebrew day with a buddy of his that had kind of gotten him into homebrewing. And from there, it just took off. I mean, we both enjoyed it so much, had a mutual love of Belgian style beers. We started brewing almost every week, just home brewing. And it was one time, it was like a Saturday, we were cleaning out a bunch of stuff and it's like, man, this is a bunch of work. And I was like, but what if this was our full-time job? He's like, yeah, that would be awesome. And from there, it kind of took off where we started planning, what if we really did do a brewery? What would it look like? What would it involve? And that was probably 2015, 2016. And in 2017, we actually went ahead, took the plunge, opened our LLC, and started trying to do shows around town, like Hop Jam and Wild Brew and Harvest Fest and all those different things. And from there, we got some feedback from our friends and family, which, you can never really trust those guys. But the feedback from the shows was really positive. And so that kind of propelled us into actually looking for a spot. We looked originally in Jinx, didn't find anything. We went down the road a little ways with somebody. The spot ended up being a little too expensive for us. And then we were approached actually at Harvest in probably 2018. Think about that. Yeah, 2018. We were approached by a guy who actually works for Price Family Properties who said, hey, I have this great spot downtown. And we were like, no way are we going to be able to afford downtown.
Yeah.
I mean, being in a great big building, plus it'll probably be an office space. It's not going to fit us. We came in here and looked at it and it was like, oh yeah, I could really see us doing a brewery here. And so I guess the rest is history. We signed on, it fit our budget, and we demoed this space out last year. It took us about a year and a half, and we were finally able to open in May.
Nice.
So I was keeping it brief.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you all came up with the name Eerie Abbey?
Yeah, so this is actually a story I tell all the time because people always ask us that. But James lives on Eerie Avenue, like the lake. We both really love Belgian beers, so that's where the Abbey comes in. Obviously, we're not monks, we're not brewing in an abbey, but we wanted to kind of pay homage to Belgian style beers in the name. We also like to do a little bit of tweaking, to the Belgian recipes, with our spice triple, which is one of our core beers. We've got coriander and cardamom and orange peel in it. The quad, we have blackberries in it. So we decided to make a play on that and add an E to Lake Erie to make it eerie, like, ooh, eerie. and that's where Eerie Abbey came from.
Awesome.
So.
Nice. Well, let's, before we go too much further, talk a little bit about the beers themselves, what you guys normally have on tap, and then you've got the Eerie Abbey and then the Daughter House.
Yeah. So that's another question we get a lot of. What is Daughter House? Is that, a different brewery, or, what is that? So we are doing Eerie Abbey beers, and those are going to be our traditional Belgian style beers. When an Abbey opens a second location, they call it a Daughter House. And we realize that, Belgian style beers aren't necessarily going to be for everybody. We also enjoy other styles of beer.
Yep.
So we have decided to market our American styles, our non-Belgian styles, under Daughter House. And we have a separate logo for that. We have different glassware for that. We really, try to separate those two, not to make us into two breweries, but just, so people can quickly identify this is an American style, this is a Belgian style. And we have 12 taps. We are going to try to always have at least 6 Belgian style beers on tap.
Nice.
And I don't know what the mixture will be on all of those, but most of the time we'll go from light to heavy on those.
Can you talk to us a little bit more about the location of the brewery, where we are downtown, and maybe plans for the building?
Yeah, so the location, we're right on Main Street, right in the middle of the downtown business district. It's kind of the oil and capital. Our building is the oil capital building. We have a lot of people that have office jobs that are around here, and we don't have a lot of parking. So one of the things that we're counting on, or that we're hoping for, is the people that work downtown and that live downtown will really kind of make this their hangout spot. We, are right at the end of where the old Mayfest used to stop.
Okay.
And I don't know if Mayfest is going to come back, and, if we're going to do that. We haven't had any conversations with them, but we're hoping that this area will kind of become a hangout spot for people that live here and people that work here. Billy's on the Square just went out, kind of hoping we get like a nighttime-ish type restaurant.
Yep.
There's a couple of blank or empty spots next to us, hoping that those turn into bars or, eateries that are open later. That would really help us out. So we're kind of pushing that with all the people that we know. The building itself is a 7-story building. We occupy the entire first floor. They're planning on building, I think, 48 apartments above us, which would just be phenomenal.
Yeah.
If they do that, I think even the brewery is going to try and rent out one of those.
That makes sense.
Yeah, right? We could close and get shit-faced and then go upstairs and hang out.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I don't know when they're going to finish those. They haven't really started. They've done all the demo up there. Like, up there is just totally empty, but I don't know when that's going to occur, but hopefully in the next year and a half.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So going back to the beers a little bit, you have I think you called the Indulgence beers, the dessert beers. We were talking a little bit before we actually started the show about how successful those have been. And can we talk a little bit about that, some of the different flavors? I know for me, that's a lot of what I remember about, like hop jam and those things before you guys got open was, okay, I got to go try whatever they got today.
So it's really crazy. The Indulgence beers were a beer that was actually a mistake on us. We had a new brewing system. This was years ago, and our home brew system. And we were supposed to, be able to put everything all in and, set it and forget it basically, and you come back and you're ready for the boil. And it did not happen that way. We got everything done, went through the whole process, bottled it, and we're like, the hops didn't take. Nothing happened with the hops. What is going on? It's like, this is just bread water. And so we have kind of tweaked it a little bit since then, but what we have done is created this kind of cross between an amber and pale, and have very little hops in it. And the result is this beer. We use the same base beer for all of the flavors, and the beer just kind of presents whatever we put in it as, that flavor forward. We really like it, and like you said, you saw that at the different events, and that would always be the thing. We would take our butterscotch beer or our dragon fruit beer, and people would be like, "That's weird. I don't know if I'm going to like it." They would try it. By the end of the show, they're dragging their friends like, "Hey, you got to try this beer. You got to try this beer." So we are always going to have it on tap. We're always doing small batches of it so we can change out the flavors regularly. And I hope, I don't want to be known for the Indulgence beers. I want to be known for the Belgian beers. Yeah. But I do hope and think that we could gain a little side following of people that want to try, and need to come in because it's not going to be on tap very long, but want to try the latest Indulgence beers. So we have Pina Colada on right now. After Pina Colada will probably be Mai Tai. Later this summer, we're going to have some watermelon. We even have a bubblegum flavor.
Nice.
That is very interesting. So we'll also probably bring back some of the other fruits that we did earlier this year, like raspberry and strawberry and blueberry. So.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, he mentioned festivals, and that's where we've been drinking your beer for the past few years. Mm-hmm. We always get interested in the feedback from the breweries and festivals from your side. Positives, negatives, any cool, good memories from them.
Yeah, so we always have good memories from the festivals. We enjoy them all. Hop Jam is always kind of a marathon because it's outdoors. We're outdoors for 8 hours most of the time, and it's so hot. It's always so hot. And first draft is kind of the opposite. Now they moved it indoors, so that's good. But first draft was always kind of a marathon the opposite way. It's always so cold. Yeah. It's how long can you endure? But we really enjoy meeting people, being able to see, who likes our beers, what they like. They give us a lot of feedback. We oftentimes get the feedback, thank you for not having an IPA and a stout on, because that's every single tent. And not that that's a bad thing. People love IPAs and stouts. We just kind of take the alternative route where we're going to, showcase some of the things that, we think are interesting or, that are unique. So, and I think we'll probably do that. Now that we're a brewery, we can definitely see that it's changing our availability to create unique things for a specific event. I've even wondered if we'll go back and brew like a 5-gallon homebrew batch for events, but I don't know. We'll see whenever those start up again.
Right. So you guys have a pretty badass mural here at the front of the brewery that I think was just real recently completed.
Yep.
Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. That is the artwork of Ron Frisbee. He was a friend of, or co-worker of James's wife, Sharissa, at St. Francis. And he does paintings that James really, really liked. So we told him what our name was going to be, told him, what we were thinking about. And he's like, okay, I'll put something together and do the sketch and see what you guys think. First try, nailed it. We're like, yep, that's it. And that's been our logo ever since.
Yeah.
And so when we moved in here, that space was an eyesore. We didn't know what we were going to do with it. And he was like, I think I could paint a big mural on there. And we're like, yeah, that would be cool. So we had him do that, and he came up with the stained glass idea on the top over there. But it's really neat. We have a lot of people that want to take pictures, with our Abbot. That's the Abbot. That's the head of the Eerie. So
nice.
Yeah.
Another question we like to ask every guest that we have is, do you remember, have you had your holy shit moment where you took a step back and you're just like, our brewery's open, this has become a thing?
Yeah. Our holy shit moment was the first weekend that we were officially open. We did a soft opening the end of May, and then the first weekend we were open, beginning of June. It was like, wow. Because the soft opening was all of our friends and family. Yeah. So we had, 40, 50 people in here, but we knew every single one of them. So it was like, this is great, but this is not really much different than if we had a big house party. But then having the general public in and seeing a bunch of faces that we didn't know, hadn't seen before, having them open and having us be busy, it was like, wow, this is really, we're really doing it.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome.
Yeah. Another question we like to ask the first time someone comes on the show too is, if you remember your first craft beer and then your epiphany craft beer where you stopped drinking, or at least mostly to drinking craft beer.
Wow. First craft beer. I hate to say this, but it's probably a Sam Adams.
That's a pretty common answer.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was the Sam Adams. And I was like, this has a lot more flavor than I'm used to. And now, looking back on it, I was like, huh. But that was, so it actually wasn't a beer that made me stop drinking, domestics. I got a book by Michael Jackson. It was like 100 best beers in the world or something like that. And I started going through that book and reading it and got excited about trying all these different things, hearing the different flavor notes. And so I went up to Park Hill Liquors and started buying. I would just go in there with my book. I was such a nerd. I'd take my book in there and I'd be like, oh, this looks fun. And I'd try to find it on the shelf. And I would buy whatever was in that book and try all those. So, and that's really what got me started. And that was before, the liquor stores really started doing the mix six. So I'd buy a 6-pack of this, a 6-pack of that. And then, Tulsa Hills, Tulsa, is it Wine Cellar or?
Something like that, yeah.
Anyways, at Tulsa Hills, they started doing the mix pack. And that was a whole new world for me. That was just, I'd buy, 12, 18 beers and, drink one a day.
Yeah.
So.
What are y'all's distribution plans? Do you plan on distributing it all?
We do want to distribute, but on a very limited basis. We want to do probably just kegs, just to restaurants, and we'll self-distribute. The plan for us always has been to make the tap room first as far as sales go. It's the best profit margin. Before they changed the laws, we wouldn't have had the ability to even open a brewery, So we've always wanted to focus on the taproom sales. And then this fall, we've applied for a self-distribution license, and we want to self-distribute here in Tulsa. I don't know. I mean, if things go well, maybe we'll distribute in Oklahoma City at some point. I don't really see it right now, but I don't know what the next year and a half is going to bring. So.
You have beer options to go. I know a lot of people right now don't want to spend time in tap rooms.
Yeah, so we get the question all the time, can you fill a growler? And we just haven't really done that yet. Okay. Growlers we don't have any growlers, first of all. Second of all, it's hard to control what the consumer does with a growler once they walk out the door. And I know that most people that have growlers understand that, so you're not going to get a negative review necessarily, but I'm always worried about, somebody getting a growler, waiting a week and a half, to open it, and then, takes it to a party, and people are like, what is this Eerie Abbey shit? This is terrible. It's all flat. But we do have a little can seamer, and we are canning our little hearts out on 16-ounce cans, and we have 4-packs and singles of our higher ABVs. So we have 4-packs of the smaller ABVs, singles of the higher ABVs, and we have those to go, and we have those every day.
Awesome.
So,
right on.
Some of the smaller batches we don't can. Okay. We have the ability to just do a 1-barrel batch, and we usually don't can those unless we've brewed several 1-barrel batches, back to back to back. So.
Well, world we live in right now, got to ask the COVID question. So, you guys were still kind of in the process of getting open when all this hit, and then have opened while it's been going on. How's that been for you?
Scary, really. I mean, we wanted to open in March, and we weren't 100% ready, but we needed to be open because we needed to start generating some income. And right when we were going to open is when they shut down the bars and restaurants. And so we, took a step back, talked to our landlord, made some adjustments and some plans, and it really allowed us to be able to brew enough to where we were, because we have 12 taps. We were only going to open with maybe 8 taps filled, just to get started. But we decided, or when it happened, we were able to really take a step back, go ahead and brew more, and get everything filled up tap room wise, all of our taps. So that really, in a way, sort of helped us be more prepared to open. But now, since we've been open, we've spaced out our tap room. We actually had planned on having all of these size tables, and I'm talking about the 4 tops, all in a line to make it a big kind of community type deal, and then having our other taller, our pub top tables, spaced out around the brewery. And we eventually are going to have a couch and a love seat over there and have just kind of like a little hangout area. But with COVID, we spaced everything out so we can be socially distanced properly.
Yeah.
And now we've got masks, and it looks like we're going to have to all wear masks next week.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's probably hurt our business a little bit. Downtown pretty much is working from home. They're probably 30% full. The foot traffic we saw at the beginning of June, we don't see very much now. And with our limited canning capabilities, if we have to shut down again, I don't know what's going to happen with us. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Fair enough. Never know what tomorrow brings. Anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
What about food options? Do you allow people to bring food in, places around here that people can get to get food here?
Yeah, in fact, we encourage that. We want people to bring in food and stay longer, make themselves at home. We have a lot of people that live around here that just walk down in an evening and hang out. And we've even had a couple of people make dinner at their house and bring it down to the brewery.
Nice.
And yeah, so they whip out their Rubbermaid, containers and their noodles and sit and eat with us, and we love it. I mean, that's what we want to do. We don't have the ability to have food trucks with our limited space, but we have plenty of restaurants around here, and we are working on plans with some of the local restaurants, hopefully that we can start getting delivery from them at no extra cost to the consumer. So you order from a Lotte, and they just run it across the alley and bring it in. So we're working on that. That's still in the process, but I'm hoping that that'll be something that people will latch on to and start to, bring food in, stay longer, really sit and relax, rather than, stop in, have a beer, and then go eat. Yeah. Rather than bring their food in and have 3 beers while they're eating. So,
for sure. Well, you kind of mentioned the alley a second ago. There's some plans for that alley, are there not?
I've heard that there are.
Okay.
I have seen more and more artwork. I would love it. I mean, that would be amazing. We would, if that turns into a walking alley, we're going to have a beer garden out there.
Nice.
Yeah. But I don't know that it's going to happen. So
okay.
We'll see. I would love for it to. I know, like Libby at a Lotte, the owner there, she's talked about putting together a council, or maybe there already is, to make that into, get more artwork, make that into a walking alley, kind of clean it up, all of that. So we'll see. I would love it if it happened. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you have anything else?
No.
Do you have any final thoughts you want to put out before we wrap it up?
I really appreciate being on the podcast. It's awesome for us to be able to get our name out there. We're trying, to let people know, A, we're here, B, we're open, and hopefully we're not going anywhere. I personally, I'm really proud of our beer. I think that if people come out and just give it a shot, Belgian style beer will be something that they'll discover they really, really like.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for having us out and being on the show today.
Thank you guys. Let's go have another beer.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's going to do it for another episode of Pub Talk. Thanks again to the folks from Eerie Abbey Ales for having us out today. Make sure to go check them out. They are located near 5th Main in downtown Tulsa. It'll definitely be worth the trip. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast app or YouTube for the video version. Find us on the web at pubtalkpodcast.com and follow us on social media at pubtalkpodcast. And as always, never forget there's nothing in life too big or hard you can't handle it over a few beers with your good friends. Until next time, just chill till the next episode.